Want some? Get some. Can I get a hell yeah?
Yes, I am a pirate.
You have to go with the pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're pirate.
This is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
You will get Omaha. I can promise you that.
And it's purple all night long in Eastern North
You're
Carolina.
watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down of my soul, and I don't back down not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
All right, welcome in to another exciting edition of Extra Innings. This is the American Baseball Tournament NCAA Selection Show edition, and I'm going to tell you, we've got a long, I know that you guys know the movie Smokey and the Bandit. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there, and there's so many things. Happy Memorial Day. Hopefully everybody had a good time with that. We're going to be talking later in the show, and I promise, Johnny, we're not going to get off sideways. We'll focus on baseball for the first hour or so, and then all that freestyling or whatever we're doing at the back half. Happy anniversary to Johnny Robertson's. He and his wife.
Thank you, Dave.
I'm going to get some accolades here out first because we're going to dive into baseball. I will talk about one music thing that I was upset about, Johnny, really, really quick, and I promise.
No, I'm intrigued. If it's this important, I got to know.
Yeah, one of my favorite rappers of the 80s, Rob Bass, passed away of cancer, a silent battle. We didn't know about it. He had one of the biggest songs of the 80s, hip-hop wise, It Takes Two. He had the remake of Joy and Pain. If you guys know Frankie Beverly and Mays, they were obviously that song. That's where that song came from. But rest in peace, Rob Bass, at the age of 59. We'll talk about Beast Games. We'll talk about that. That's why I'm so tired right now. But the show must go on. We'll Wildfire. We'll talk about that. Johnny's keeping us on a tight ship tonight. But I want to let everybody know we will talk about the Beast Games. We'll talk about the pluses and minuses, the good, the bad, the ugly, and that'll be in our second hour. So just keep that in mind. Hey, I just want to give a shout out to the Pirates because man, oh man, if you want to talk about Mr. May, it is definitely Cliff Godwin. This is not his fan club, but it might as well be. Once again, he came through, guys. I want to get your guys' thoughts about. We'll talk about where we're going. We'll be talking all about that excitement. About 90 miles from us, and that helps our budget. But anyway, let's start.
Saves me on a hotel room.
Yes, I can drive it.
I mean, look, 90 miles away. Look, there's no reason why Pirate fans cannot show up and show out. I know tickets, they're sale limited, but look, Pirate fans, we can find a way to get there. We're Pirates. Let's figure out a way to get there and support you guys.
Hey, Johnny Robertson, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand out there and I'm going to lift you up and you can watch the game. I'm going to hold you up like a cheerleader and you can watch the game. You don't have to worry about paying for it. I don't know how many plays you can see, but I'll do my best.
I appreciate that, Dave, but hopefully that won't be necessary. But hey, I do want to give Justin props because I consider myself a hardcore loyalist, but I was wavering at a few points in the season, and Justin never wavered. Justin always said, "Hey, wait to the end of the year. Just wait to the end of the year." And I was like, "I know, Justin. Wait to the end of the year." And here it is, and Justin was right. And
hey, look, time and time again, Johnny. I mean, look, I trust Cliff Godwin with all heart. I mean, you got to have faith in you guys, man. I mean, you just got to stick with it. I mean, times get rough and times are ugly sometimes, but look, just stick to the guns, guys. I mean, look, we're here. We're I was thinking, like I told you guys at the group text, the book by the Bradshaw lady that wrote the books. Never take anything for granted. Never take anything for granted, guys. Yes, we've been to the NCAA tournament, the last 8 years in a row. And look, you look at historic programs just like Cliff Godwin said, like LSU. I mean, look at what they've done. And Vanderbilt. I mean, so don't ever take this for granted, guys. Look, every game from now on is a blessing to be a part of, and just enjoy the ride, guys. Just enjoy the ride, no matter what happens on this weekend. Hey, look, we're back in the NCAA tournament. Yes, we will love it in Greenville, but hey, I'll take whatever we can get at this point, guys.
And Alan Vick, you've been following this program a long time, and you were started when you were a baby. So, but this is our 36th appearance, 36. Nothing, that's one of the things I talked about at the press conference today is, Alan, you're right there near me. But the culture that Cliff Godwin has built, and it's kind of cool because you see and we have a lot of trolls here tonight. So we're going to ban them. If you're trolling, you're not going to make it here. But anyway, this is our show. We'll do whatever we want to do on the show. We do primarily talk about baseball, but anyway, so getting back to my point, 36 years, you look at Alan, Johnny, Wildfire, you look at all the accomplishments going all the way back to Hal Baird and before him, and then Gary Overton, you look at LeClaire, Maisie, with Godwin, Cliff Godwin. I mean, the great thing about this program is name an era over the last 50, 60 years that there's been a drop off. There's not. And what's really cool is like you're stepping up like a staircase. Every single coach brings a little bit of different flavor. And next thing you know, we're at this level once again. And if you had told me with all the injuries, everything that happened with this team, all the stuff behind the scenes, blah, 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 that we would be regular season champions, tournament champions. How great. It's not about, here's the great thing about, I was thinking about this yesterday. It's not about individuals. This is about team. This is about program. That tells you why that when Cliff was talking about earlier, Alan, when we were at the press conference, when he was talking to the media, it's not like we have one great year and then there's several bad years. This program, the expectation this fan base has, the support from the fan base, the support from the administration, on and on and on. That's why we're good every single year.
You asked the question, I think, and we watch Cliff progress and do what he does, but considering the circumstances, and I don't think it's just hyperbole, I think it's a fact. This year was Cliff Godwin's best coaching job. I mean, it just was, and with all the circumstances and things, I think this was his best coaching job as East Carolina head coach.
And I love Cliff, and I was giving him a compliment, and I said, "Is this your best coaching job?" And he did the media,
he's going to do the shy, humble country boy thing, but this is his best coaching job. I think if you caught him in a private moment, he'd probably tell you this probably is his most gratifying year as coach at ECU. You can't help it. You go through what they've been through and what he's been through in the program. You can't help but be gratified and be proud, and and you should be proud. I mean, this team overcame numerous obstacles. We could sit here all night and talk about it, but it was an amazing job by everybody involved, not just Cliff, but the entire coaching staff, the support staff, everybody, to get this team in a regional was nothing short. I wouldn't call it a miracle, but it's darn close to it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing right now. Cliff said it, so we can put this out here to our great loyal viewers and listeners. Thank you. We don't thank you all enough because it's nice to meet new people that you don't know who you are. They tap you on the back, on the shoulder and say, "Hey, I enjoy listening to you on Sunday nights." That means a lot. But anyway, John Gilbert told Cliff Godwin that, in other words, it was only 50-50 we would make it. The only way that we would definitely make it is pretty much we had to win the tournament, but definitely make it to the championship game. But the tournament was the only way because we can go ahead and talk about it, guys. UTSA, when people said, I know that they deserve to be in. I do feel like they should be in. So let me make that very clear. I'm not anti-UTSA. The reason the committee, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, and when I'm using my brain, my heart says UTSA should be in. My brain is telling me they're if you guys remember, there was some midweek games that was puzzling how they lost, and I don't remember. Johnny has a better memory of that than I do. of midweek games back in the season that they would like to have back, if y'all remember that. And then coming down the stretch, they lost to Memphis, UAB. Now, Memphis and UAB, I'm not saying they were like trash or bad. I'm just simply saying the UTSA won the league at a co-share with us, and they should have been they should have dominated, in my opinion, not dominated, but at least won 2 out of 3 against Memphis and 2 out of 3 against UAB. And we would have never been, if they had done that, we would have been second in the league and not co-champions. So I'm kind of happy that happened. But for our vantage point, but as far as why they're not in, if you look at, like we talked about, strength of schedule, and we're going to talk about Mercer in just a second, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not their fault, though, Dave. I mean, honestly, it's not. They swept Dallas Baptist. Dallas Baptist, this is the first year they haven't made the tournament in 11 years. So those 3 wins just didn't carry the weight that they thought that it would. I mean, you can't do any better than beating a team 3 for 3. And then they beat Coastal pretty handily. I mean, they beat Baylor. I mean, they're scheduling good teams. Baylor had a bad year. Coastal didn't have a bad year, but, I mean, they really weren't as good at the end as they were most of the season. And, you know, the end numbers is what you're basing this on. And, I mean, they did lose a game, you know, to Houston Christian on the road. But anytime these Texas teams play each other in state on the road, it's not an easy win. I don't care who you're playing. So, I mean, I don't. Incarnate Word is another one. They're in San Antonio as well. They're in the same city, and they went there and they lost there, and that, you know. But I think they scheduled well. I don't think that it was a scheduling issue. They just didn't finish well, like you already pointed out. I think that was the major problem.
They're not going to reward teams that coming down the stretch that are not hot. And by the way, Craig mentioned I've seen a lot about Mercer being out. Here, the head of the committee, the athletic director at Florida State, his name escapes me, so if you want to look at that. Here's the deal, guys. The deal is with Mercer. So everybody that's complaining about Mercer went 27-1 on quad 4 wins. And what that lets you know is you don't have to be Johnny Stats to know if you are out of 28 games, 27 of them are quad 4. That is what happened to them. Their schedule was 218, guys, for Mercer. So I can't fault the committee on that. Mercer is a team that you normally would probably see in there. But that's one of the things right now that we've got to go with is that when John Gilbert and everybody that's on that committee gets in there, they have to look at that kind of stuff. And we talked about LSU, and to be fair to this committee, LSU and Vandy, on their reputation alone, normally would probably get them in, right? This committee set a precedent, said, I don't care if you're the number 1 program in the country as far as money, whatever. If you don't have the resume, you're not getting in. And for that helps at East Carolina that's not in the SEC or the ACC to say, we're not going to take mediocre or bad SEC, ACC, whatever conference schools just to get them in.
Yeah, I think strength of schedule definitely hurt Mercer. And as usual, you had some bid stealers as well. You had some things happen in conference tournaments that cost some teams. And you look at a team like NC State, probably with the eye test in the back half of the season. NC State's not a tournament team, but Elliott Avent's retiring. I think there was some sentimental stuff there, and State got in. But the strength of schedule was definitely the death nail for Mercer. There's no question about it.
And we are getting back to the Pirates. I just wanted to throw that out, guys. I'm sorry sorry, Johnny, but I just wanted to.
No, I was just going to elaborate on what y'all are talking about at the present time is there weren't a lot of bid stealers because the teams that we thought were in, like Mercer, we considered, if Mercer loses this tournament, someone's going to steal a bid. Well, Mercer lost the tournament. They didn't get in. High Point, they were pretty close to the bubble. They didn't finish the job in their tournament. They didn't get in. A lot of people had them as the 3 seed in Chapel Hill. So, maybe it's fortuitous that they didn't win their conference tournament because I'd rather be in Chapel Hill than Atlanta or any of those other number 1, 2, or 3 seed teams, Athens, whatever. But and as far as Cliff goes, I feel like last year was his best coaching season ever because our team wasn't as good as this team. And we had to win 4 games last year to win that tournament. So I'm not going to even say that last year was better than this year. Alan, you're correct. This was a heck of a coaching job this year. I don't want to diminish that. Let's just say he's just done miraculous things 2 consecutive seasons. So, he's done it 2 years in a row, and we should all be thankful that he's at the helm of this pirate ship.
Hello, Kenny. He says, congratulations to Cliff and the Pirate team for the championships in another regional. We never doubted them. Well, maybe 1 or 2 times, but they showed us fans, never give up. And that's exactly right. And when Coach Godwin talks about that baseball is a marathon, not a sprint, a lot of times we focus on the weekend and not about the overall picture, the big picture. But we said, Alan, I know you said a million times, hey, next week, let's look at next week. Let's look at the next game. And we can't do anything about the past. And once those games are over, they're over. So
we knew this team. Go ahead, Walker.
Yeah, one game at a time. That's the beauty of the game of baseball is you play multiple games. It's not like football and basketball where you play one or 2 times a year. You got multiple games over a year. So just because you have a bad weekend, you got to pick it back up and go next week. So
you knew this team had potential. You knew they had the potential to go on the kind of streak that they needed to go on at the end of the year to put themselves in position, to make postseason. Looking at the metrics, guys, and looking at the way things shook out, with UTSA, I'm not sure that if East Carolina did not, win the tournament, I'm not sure they would have gotten in. They're looking at the way things, ultimately happened. I thought they were in after the win, certainly after the second win over the weekend for sure. I'm not so sure about that now.
Yeah, our RPI was much better. Our RPI was much better than UTSA's, and we had John Gilbert. So it would have been shaky, though, Alan. There was no guarantee, that's for darn sure. But I thought we would have got in, but because State got in, and everybody had us ahead of State.
Yeah.
So,
but then again, where does those midweek losses come into effect there?
For which team?
Did they say for NC State? They're gonna put Stadium, but then they beat us twice. So
yeah.
How would that have been a factor? I wonder if that would have played a role. In the committee's eyes.
I think overall the committee did a good job. I don't have too many criticisms about this particular committee. I think overall
it's a very balanced field. Honestly, I mean, there is some good matchups in there. I mean,
oh yeah, it's going to be they're really, even though UCLA is the number 1 seed overall, blah blah. To me, there really is no clear cut heads and tails above everybody else's team in this tournament this year.
No.
That's exactly right. Craig said, how great is it to get to Chapel Hill from a fan support perspective? My mother-in-law asked me what I thought about the matchups. I replied, we have to beat everyone we face. So I guess he said beat. I guess that's what he meant. So the matchups aren't as important as the location to me. And I'll tell you one thing, Johnny, as well as I do, from a perspective, we're going to break down. We'll talk a little bit about the tournament and all that kind of stuff. But I did want to say that it really helps us as far as the fan base, everything. And this year, I will just go ahead and tell you guys, I was worried if I was going to be able to go because of the fact of financially. So anyway, it's
breaking up there a little, Dave.
Yeah,
I think we've temporarily lost Dave. As far as going to Chapel Hill, I don't think it could have worked out any better. I look at Virginia Tech being sent to UCLA.
Woo.
Think about that.
Yeah, that's crazy because people are like, how did Virginia Tech get a 2 seed? Well, if I'm Virginia Tech, I don't want a 2 seed because the last 2 seed in has to play the number 1 unless they're in the same conference. And so Virginia Tech's reward for getting a 2 seed is going to Los Angeles to take on the best team in the country. I mean, being a 3 seed is fine. There's no competitive advantage from being a 2 seed other than you get to bat last in your first game. Right. That's it.
I think honestly we got one of the better 3 seed spots.
I agree. It's a great setup for us.
Gosh knows. I mean, we couldn't ask for any better.
I mean, we saw VCU last season, and we ruled them 12-2 in Richmond, and then the next day we beat them 11-1. But that VCU team is 17-37. This year they're 37-23. So, and towards the end of the season they really started to roll. So they're a hot team, and nobody should take them for granted. I know UNC's not going to. So, they improved 20 games. They won 20 more games this season than they did last season. And we had them in Greenville, the 2024 regional with, Wake Forest and Evansville. And they were a tough out. But
and Carolina has proven over the years that's a good baseball team. But they've proven over this year they are human. They are fallible. They can be beaten. We beat them once. We tied them once. Georgia Tech took them to the woodshed yesterday. This Carolina team is really, really good, but I'll take it. We've already seen them, 2.5 times, and I'll take Cliff and our coaching staff, to what they can do with the team they've already seen any day of the week. So I think overall, I don't think we got anything to complain about.
Bye.
All right, guys, can you hear me now?
The dulcet tones of Dave Richmond are back, ladies and gentlemen.
There's nothing like having great internet that you pay a lot for. And then the reason why I have the top of the line internet with that company that starts with an O is the fact of this very show. And if you want to stream anything, if you don't have the top of the line stuff, then this show will be like this the whole time. And then it's embarrassing when that happens. But anyway, let's bring in, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle from LaGrange Barber.
What's going on, guys? I'm not going to stay long tonight. Not feeling great, but just wanted to check in for a minute, say hey to everybody. Obviously, pleased with the way the weekend turned out for the Pirates. Great job taking care of business in the conference tournament. And getting the automatic bid. UTSA got left out, so we'll never know if we would have. We had a much higher strength of schedule. But great job by East Carolina. Cliff had the team pull through kind of the way he always does. And so, people, I know Dave loves to say we're going to make it when we least expect it to Omaha. I don't know if we got the horses to ride to Omaha this year, but I'm just glad to be in the tournament, and I'm sure we'll play well in Chapel Hill.
No doubt. And by the way, sounds like it could be a nightmare trying to get tickets in Chapel Hill. Might be better off watching the game pool.
I think we lost him again.
Yeah. Yeah, I might take Josh up on that offer.
Yeah, I think that I think we'll have a big crowd there. I think
we will.
Yeah. At some point, we should talk about the tournament that got us here, though. I would think.
I'm ready. Well, I'm ready. I've been saying that I'll be ready for. Let's go back and look at the weekend that was. We started off on Friday, and we actually. The great thing about, by the way, guys, I was going to tell you, I normally am not for change when it comes to sports, but I really, really like this format even before.
Yes,
we got down to the nitty gritty, and
and I want to point something out. I'm not going to be up here long for those you talking about the format change, because there are a lot of people out there who evidently don't pay a lot of attention to things over the last, I don't know, however many years we've been in the American. It has never been in the championship game a double elimination format. This is not the regionals. The championship game has always been single elimination. That hasn't changed. So we didn't benefit from it or anything like that. That part of the format had not changed. Championship game always winner take all.
Yeah, and you know what, Bubba Rosenbaum. Well, Bubba, he got to ask Coach Hallmark from UTSA a question about what he feels facing East Carolina, and he was like, "What? No, we're not playing them." And then someone told him, "Yeah, you are," and he was like, "What? We're playing East Carolina?" He said, "I didn't even know that. I thought we were playing somebody, a loser of another game." And I understand what he meant by that, because this season we crossed over like every other the first 10 or 11 AAC tournaments. You didn't cross over in your bracket.
Yeah.
Those you just the two bracket sides would meet for the championship, and that confused a lot of people. But he's the head coach; he's got to know who he faces if he wins the game. That was kind of embarrassing for him, and I like him.
It's like having two different like regionals. So you've got one regional and you got another regional. Then whoever comes out of the two regionals, you play in a winner take all.
That's exactly what it's like, Justin. That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, I didn't care for that aspect of it. I do think that that on Saturday it should have been East Carolina versus Wichita, or East Carolina versus UAB, whatever. And then UTSA. I don't think we should have switched brackets. We should have just eliminated whoever was in front of us. But it worked out in our favor. So.
No, it did. I do have one gripe about.
I like the bracket. I mean, I don't have a problem with the way it was run. Honestly.
Well, I do, Justin, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so both Memphis and Wichita State won their first game. Which matched them up on game day 2. And then Memphis beat Wichita State. So then Memphis had to go play UAB, where Wichita State just went down to the loser bracket. And then Memphis lost to UAB, and then they had to play Wichita State the same day, whereas they beat Wichita State, and now they had to play an extra game. It makes no sense why a team that lost, Wichita State, gets a full day of rest while another team has to play 2 in a row, and they beat that team that lost. It makes no sense that a losing team gets a competitive advantage over a team that won. A team that wins should never have to play more games than the team that loses. That's my only gripe. And that was only in one spot. That was just that one tricky little spot that happened in. But they got to fix that. There's no way they can.
I don't understand why we need to flip the brackets. You can still
I don't either.
You can still have the single elimination to go into double elimination format, and then championship game single elimination without having to flip the brackets. I don't know what the point of that is.
I don't get it.
But it's fine. It all worked out.
Yeah, right. We should not be complaining.
Don't fix something that ain't broken.
Yeah, exactly.
Craig, it depends on the moment, my friend.
Yeah.
It depends on the moment.
I'm asking that for people listening to the podcast. How are you feeling? Because they wouldn't.
I had surgery Thursday, for those that don't know, and the healing process is not going easy for me. Been having a lot of stomach issues. I've been running low grade fever. A lot of was constipated, nausea. If it wasn't for Zofran, I would have thrown up several times. I've had upset stomach, but I appreciate you asking. Guys, I'm going to get off here. My sister's coming over to visit me. So go Pirates, and
be good, Kyle.
I'm glad you're feeling better, Kyle.
Right.
See you, Kyle.
We're getting better, yep. By the way, guys, Kenneth has a great point right here.
Well, Dave's having a rough night with internet tonight.
You know what, Alan? When he freezes, sometimes I think, is it me? Is it my, So I'm glad when you speak up, because it lets me know that.
He likes play early. Yeah, exactly. They should be rewarded. The reason I like the format is they should be rewarded for having a great year, and they should not be playing on Tuesday.
Oh, I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
Okay. And then Kenneth makes a great point. Sunbelt getting 5 teams is an indictment of the rest of our conference. Yeah, I think, again, but I will say this, though. There's a lot of teams that are like UAB, a lot of teams making improvements. Memphis used to be let's just face it, Memphis used to be a joke, and they're getting to be.
You're right, Dave. You're right on that.
Yeah, and Rice is coming. Rice
Yeah.
is
Oh
coming.
boy, they sure are.
Yeah. So I do believe that in the next year or two, you'll see, I'll say 3 teams. I'm not going to go wild on as high as 5, but I do think we're going to be a multi-bid league in the next 2 or 3 years, in my opinion. I think it's a little premature right now to say that we didn't. I thought we deserved 2 teams, but it is what it is. And we'll
I
see.
agree, Dave. I think part of the problem was there was no bottom to our conference, really. I mean, you could say that Tulane it was the bottom, but South Florida, they didn't even make the top 8, and they had one of the higher RPIs. I think they were 5th in the conference with a 95 RPI. They're a good team. They, just had some bad breaks and couldn't finish anybody. So they didn't deserve to be there, but they're a good baseball team. And that's part of the problem. Everybody beat everybody. I mean, Memphis beat all the top teams. They were 4-8 against the top 4. 8-4 against the top 4 teams and 4-8 against the other 4 teams. So, Memphis kind of ruined it for everybody by beating all the good teams and giving them extra losses on their resume. And that's what you get when you have a conference that's very, there's a lot of parity in the American. And when that parity is all teams are good, then that's, I think, where we're heading. Like you all mentioned with Rice and UAB and Memphis, everybody's improving. There's no way that Charlotte and Tulane and South Florida are going to stay, at the bottom like that. It's not going to happen.
You can help Alan Vick, and I know that we all want more money, right? So, Alan Vick, are you saying we'll get Craig and different ones and A Win from Florida and all the folks that do the super chats?
I appreciate every nickel these folks come by, because I'm just a poor, proud disc jockey.
By the way,
I appreciate every nickel.
By the way, I love the fact that Alan is up to date, because I would normally say he's a nickel guy. I knew you were going to say that. It's like we're married or something. I knew you were going to say every nickel. But I was going to say, I used to say I will save every penny. I can't say that anymore because that's out of date. You can't get pennies anymore. So.
Yeah, there's an old adage: if you want to become a millionaire in radio, you start out as a billionaire. You'll be a millionaire in no time flat. So
that's exactly right. Especially
pretty much how it works.
And guys, I'll tell you what, Johnny, I was really happy with this team, and I'll tell you why. Because I felt like on Saturday morning, Cliff talked about this, and I want to get Joel's take on it. The Saturday game against UTSA, and Cliff said in the past, we had a lot of balls that would have been home runs, and unfortunately the wind was not there.
We got no help from the wind whatsoever.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that tonight to you, Johnny, because all 4 of us on the show and the fans listening, and we got a huge crowd. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate you very much. The very fact of the matter is, with that wind, it was just not there, and like the old saying, Mama said, there'll be days like that. And
Austin Irby got robbed, and that turned out to be a double play. And then Nick Parham, I mean, everybody thought that was a grand slam, but it didn't leave. It didn't complete the exit of the stadium. So we didn't get a lot of help with the wind at all. But
and you got to give it to the UTSA outfield. That kid made a great play on the double. That kid made a great play on the double play. That was a Sports Center top 10 right there.
Hey, by the way, Alan, Josh said the same way with farming, Alan. You start out as a $2 millionaire and you'll have a $1 million in a few years. We love our farmers, by the way. I'm not making fun of our farmers, Josh. I'm laughing with you and everybody that's in Eastern North Carolina, a rural area. We've had family and friends that unfortunately have lost family farms. So I want to make it very clear that we are not anti-farming or making fun of farming, but that is so true. It is anything that dealing with Mother Nature. I know a person personally that in the year 2013, and I won't say where they were or anything like that, so that way I won't out them, but the weather is the reason why basically they went bankrupt, because there were so many days it rained, it ruined their crop.
It's just impossible.
Yeah, and farmers are literally, I'll say this one more thing, I'm not campaigning, but farmers are literally our backbone, because if you can't feed the population, then that's one of the ways to make civilization, and to have a thriving country is our farmers. So
I have a tremendous amount of respect for farmers. Tremendous.
I just want to make sure, Josh, that that we're laughing with you and understand exactly where you're coming from, as people that know people who know people, and people that we don't know, but we know of them that have lost farms, and it's very sad.
Yeah, I apologize. I guess I muted my mic, but I guess I came across through my laptop. So
yeah, Kenneth says true. I don't think that UTSA. He says he thinks that UTSA got hosed. Kentucky and NC State should not have gotten in.
I think UTSA passed the. I think they passed the eye test for sure. Now, analytically, did they pass that test? I don't know. And this committee looked at a lot more stats and analytics and strength of schedule, and they didn't do a lot of eye tests, I don't think, on this committee this year. I think it was, hardcore stats.
The rain is welcome here in Sampson County. Hello, Kenneth. We appreciate you very much.
Yep.
And Kenny says, big salute to our fallen soldiers and their families on Memorial Day. We are
Kenny.
Thank you, Kenny, for mentioning
sure.
that. Absolutely. We
sure.
All of us on the show are very patriotic, so don't forget why we celebrate Memorial Day. And by the way, I know personally of a close friend of mine, and again, not saying any names, but he taught a kid that just passed away in Iran, and because of the conflict, and very, very sad to have someone that a bright future and gave his sacrifice to this great country. So definitely we won't forget those that have fallen over the many, almost 250 years to be exact. So anyway, let's see. UTSA was not close. Not many are understanding that. One, I like I said before, guys, my heart breaks for Hallmark and his team, because they're a great foe, and it was almost like they were our rival this year. They won the regular season last year. We won the tournament. This year, we won a tie for that with them. And by the way, going back to there was somebody that put up there, the best two teams. Here's the deal, guys. The best two teams were in the final, and it was one hell of a game, and we'll talk about that. But Johnny, do you want to? There are some stats you want to throw out, by the way, my friend.
I mean, I just want to talk about the games. I mean, we can. I got plenty of stats. If you want me to start throwing some stats out there, I will. But I mean, how long has this show been going on? 38 minutes.
Yeah.
Someone's name has not been mentioned, and it's a shame. It's Ethan Norby. I mean, what he is doing, what he has done the last 3 years in Clearwater is just off the charts phenomenal. He threw 99 pitches. I know, Dave, we were having like a group text, and Dave is like, can we leave him in there for the 8th inning? And I was like, he's human, Dave. He has a human arm. I don't think we're going to see him in the 8th. So I apologize to Ethan Norby for referring to him as human, because he's clearly a superhuman. Because, man, what he did defies, belief. He threw a total of 140 pitches. And he's pitched 7 times in Clearwater in his 3 seasons at ECU. Wow. 7 times. The Pirates are 7-0 when Ethan Norby has pitched in one of their tournament games. And Ethan has thrown 404 pitches in 3 seasons in Clearwater and has 31 strikeouts. I mean, that's 3 seasons. That's, those numbers I don't think will ever be duplicated. I just don't think there's anybody built like him. Now, maybe someone will come along, prove me wrong, and I hope that happens. But right now, in my opinion, it'll be a long time before we see another Ethan Norby Clearwater performance like he's given us in each of the last 3 seasons, but this year especially, really.
And the kid's a bulldog.
And Johnny, it seems like to me somebody steps up every year in the tournament.
Yeah, true.
Somebody, whether it's somebody that we're not expecting, somebody comes through every year.
Joey Barini, and I think he stepped up actually 2 years in a row, but nobody expected that from him.
Exactly.
But we don't win the tournament without Joey. That's for sure.
That's correct. That is correct. So
point.
I mean, Cliff usually. I mean, we find them guys at this time of year. Somebody usually steps up. And look, I'm not going to be surprised if there's somebody that steps up in this regional that's coming on weekend.
I agree with that.
Somebody that we at least expected is going to come through. Is going to be pivotal to the reason why we win a game or two.
Yeah. Hey, we were talking about the win, Dave, and knocking some balls down, and I said Ethan Norby had, two balls that really could have left easily. Maybe postseason. Did I say Norby? I meant AI Austin Irby. He crushed those two balls, and he was hitting the ball well all weekend. I'm hoping that the postseason AI of last year is going to arrive in Chapel Hill. That's
look, you can't forget Ryan Herring. What a heck of a weekend tournament he had as well.
Yeah, Jack, we talked to Jack. He was one of the players that got interviewed, and he basically admitted the fact that being left off the first team all conference was fuel for his performance. He said it flat out.
Jack,
he was asked that question. Was that a part of he said yes, absolutely.
And we didn't see much of Saboteur this weekend either.
He pitched ran a little bit.
Pitch ran, that's about it. But that was surprising we didn't see more of him as well.
Of who, Justin?
Jeff Saboteur.
Oh yeah, no, he pinched. Yeah, he pinched ran that one time.
And then Cliff did shake the lineup up some this weekend too. There were some guys, shaking, switched around the lineup, which I liked really as well.
And I tell you, that makes a great. Let me just say this too. That's what makes a great coach, and that staff is. I hear that term about Cliff being stubborn. Well, it's kind of hard to say that he's being stubborn when, for example,
won't Burrs batting like third or fourth this weekend when he usually leads off,
and having our center fielder
Grady Linehan. I was going to bring that up though, Dave. Is that Braden Burris? Nobody expected him to not be leadoff, but Davin. He put Davin at leadoff one game when Davin was super hot, and then he went back to Braden, which Braden. Everyone thought that Braden definitely should be our leadoff guy. But 8 games ago, after we lost 2 to Rice, Grady Linehan went to leadoff, and since then, we're 7-1. I'm not giving all the credit to that move, but it seems to be working
right now. It's just like last weekend going into the tournament. We were talking about whether we're going to throw Ethan Norby or we're going to throw Towers the first game. I said, stick with your same lineup. Stick with what we got. And it's the same thing going into this weekend, guys. You throw Towers on Friday, you throw Norby on Saturday. And it happened to work out where Norby had to come into the game on Friday night. And I agree with that. Stick with the same thing you got going.
And look, you think about it right now, we're going to be we'll talk about that. I don't want to get off the whole Clearwater thing, but it's going to work out. I'll just say this. We'll save it for a little while. But the Towers Norby situation, where we have 1-2 punch for the Chapel Hill Regionals work out nice. Johnny, let's go back to the other C that we need to talk about first is Clearwater.
Yeah. But no, going back to that, I think, what Cliff did in that first game, Towers came out, pitched, he ran into a little trouble. Then you threw in Norby there to get us out of a couple of jams there. And then he was able to come back in game 3. I really like how he set that up.
I did too. And it's
that was nice.
One of Cliff's strengths has always been being able to adjust on the fly, to circumstances, and he's a master at doing that.
Yeah, and it set up well. Like I said, then and Tolik coming in on Sunday. And then we were able to bring in Norby. We didn't have to use him for that game 3 there. That was perfect. That was perfect scenario.
Johnny, I asked him to say a purpose about yesterday, and you know what happened? Cliff was trying to take him out. I was right, and we were right in the group text.
Yeah,
he was trying to take him out in the 8th inning, and he said, "Coach, let me get one more out." And
we learned his lesson. Yeah,
and once he got that one out, and
Well, I was going to mention I would have left him in just one more, at least one more batter. Just the compared to that.
He was at 99 pitches, and even Ethan did the fist pump after that. After he recorded that out, which I knew he was coming. He's not going to do that, unless if there's not 3 outs. Unless I think he was ready to come out, but he just wanted to.
I mean, take care of that guy. What did you say, Johnny? He threw 99 pitches.
Yeah,
was that
he threw 41 on Friday, and then 99.
I mean, heck of play. If we had to give a pitcher of the weekend for the tournament, it had to be Norby, man. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was the outstanding player.
Yeah, 41 pitches on Friday. That's not like I don't know if John White's listening tonight or whatever, but I would like his opinion. That's not like a bullpen session. 41 pitches. You're going to feel that. You're feeling that on your arm. And it was only, 48 hours later, he's doing 99 more pitches. So, yeah, that was.
I mean, these kids are young. I mean, the adrenaline of the tournament and all that good stuff. I mean, look, when you're feeling it, you're feeling it. And he was just feeling it. He was feeling it, guys. I'm just telling you.
Pitcher of the week is obviously going to go our extra innings. Pitcher of the week, being the most outstanding player, is obvious. The elephant number is Norby, so I want to go ahead and get that out of the way. And what do you guys?
Although a lot of pitchers, I will say this: every pitcher did well. Dave, in our last 8 games, I said we were 7-1 in our last 8 games. Yeah. So 10 different pitchers have combined to throw 68 innings, and our ERA in those 8 games is 1.85. 1.85 in college baseball. That's over good. An 8 game, and it's not just any 8 games, it's 8 games we had to win. And our pitching is stepping up. And the only downfall, and I think we talked about this too, is the UTSA loss where we hit 7 batters. And
I was going to ask you guys about, go ahead, John.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, now, the funny thing is 6 of those 7 batters were left-handers. And then we played UTSA yesterday with the same lineup, and we didn't hit a batter. So hopefully they can fix that. Also, I would say 5 of those 7 hit batters hit like some fabric, on the sleeve of their jersey, or brushed the plastic of the. It was so. I just don't think that should be rewarded when you're leaning over the plate and you got baggy stuff on, you got a lot of armor on, and you're just trying to catch some plastic or fabric. Because
I was going to say that, Johnny. I'm glad you said that, because I felt like when the announcers were way too generous when they said it's not like it may have been the play-by-play guy said it's not like they're leaning into it. And I was like, if they're crowding the plate, Wildfire, help us out on that, being an umpire in that situation. When somebody's crowding the plate, I mean, you can't give a guy like batting practice. You've got to have the position of baseball. I'm not trying to say, and those guys for both teams, like UTSA yesterday, that hit us, and with us on Saturday, it's not like the major leagues like, welcome to Major League Baseball, we're going to hit you. It's the position and that placement of that ball. And I need John White, because I'm not trying to speak out of turn, but to be fair to pitchers, there's a lot of guys leaning in knowing that, hey, he might hit me.
And there's a lot of times that there's been some hit batters. I'm gonna say stay in the box, stay in the box. I want to hit the ball. And like I said, there's been some times that they've been close, and unless the guy takes off, we're gonna stay in the box. So I'm real that hit batter stuff. I mean, it's
and yesterday, top 10 offense, UTSA, number 7 in the country offensively, and we shut them out.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we did.
I tell you, a lot of these guys, I will tell you, a lot of guys from the high school to the JUCO level, you see a lot more of them guys start to crowd the plate. catchers are up in the box trying to steal pitches. I mean, so you're gonna get a lot of that. You're gonna get a lot of that.
Yeah. So, guys, Johnny, the two freshmen were awesome this weekend, Hoagland and Rose.
Well, yeah, I was going to get to especially Charlie Hoagland, who he was amazing because there were no more important 3 outs than the ones he recorded, and it was never really in danger at all. The way he ended that game was okay. He had a fly ball to left field, so Davin could take care of the first out, and then it was a fly ball to center field, and Grady Linehan, had the honors of putting away, the second out, and then the third out was a fly ball to right field, and Jack had the honors of ending the whole tournament with that put out. So he pitched just magnificently, and every time I see him, I just see things that I like that I didn't notice before, and he's coming around at the right time. So yeah, Charlie was awesome, and Ethan Rose. I mean, Ethan Rose. He's Ethan Rose. He pitched 4 times in that 8-game streak that I was talking about, where we have a 1.85 ERA. Ethan had more appearances than just about anybody other than Joe Webb. So he's a crucial part of the equation as well. And we're lucky that all these pitchers are just really finding their rhythm right now. It's really fun to watch.
By the end of the year, these freshmen aren't freshmen anymore.
No,
they've been through the wars by the time you get to Clearwater every year. Yeah. So they really I was really surprised at UTSA's final at bat yesterday, guys. That they were not more selective. Down 1-0, I would have thought they would have taken some pitches and whatever, but there was that one at bat where the guy fouled off, 8, 9 pitches, whatever it was. Other than that, they were swinging away, man. So just
I think it felt like they had to be. How do you guys? I felt like that with Ethan Norby's performance. To me, I know that I'll say this. Hindsight is always 20/20, but I was nervous. I told y'all that I was very nervous about that game being only 1-0. Kyle, by the way, I was going to give him credit. He said it was going to be somebody was going to win the game 1-0, and I'm glad it was us. But did you guys feel like to a point with the command that Ethan Norby had, you still felt confident in our team because you knew that he was not going to give up a whole bunch of runs, even when he had pitched on Friday. And so for me, that 1-0, I felt like we needed 3-0 to win. I told y'all that, but at the same time, I did have some confidence knowing that we had Ethan Norby. That was what I will say this. I'm sorry, guys, to ramble. The reason, Johnny, I was asking you, I felt like if we could get to the 8th with Norby, my point that I mentioned to you guys with that, if we could get to the 8th inning with Norby, we would be able to find a way to win with who we had in the bullpen. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No. Hey, one thing though that these pitchers did really, really well, every one of them across the board, if they did get into a jam, they got out of it. UTSA was 1 for 19 when they had runners in scoring position. 1 for 19. Rice was 1 for 10, and that was a 1-run game. So you got 10 chances to get a run across the plate, and you don't convert on 9 out of 10 of them, and you lose by 1 run. I mean, that's a tribute to our pitching. And Wichita State, that game, that was almost hard to watch, to be honest with you. I felt really bad for Wichita State because they just didn't have any pitching. I mean, the guy was throwing 82, 83, 84 miles an hour, and I just didn't feel like we were aggressive enough at the start. I know we won by 10 runs, but I feel like, we could have had 13 runs in the first 3 or 4 innings.
Yes.
And then the last pitcher they brought in, actually, he reached 97. John White said it was the best pitcher on their staff. I don't know enough to make that determination, but I do know that he had 97 velocity. I mean, and this kid doesn't even play. But they did manage to try to hang in there, and I'm glad that we prevailed because we were 1-4 against Wichita State in the conference tournament in our history, and they had knocked us out twice. They've eliminated us. So that was some good payback. So we had payback on Wichita, and then we had payback the next day with the pesky Roadrunners. So that was awesome.
The double play by Braden Burris, the second baseman, obviously.
Oh, my goodness.
Was that not incredible? I mean, that was not to say tongue in cheek when I say hallmark, but that was, to me, no offense to Coach, that was a hallmark moment for me, because I told you guys that Saturday when we had those hit by pitch, and I'm like, come on, we can't have that, right? And so that's what I was telling you guys, stating the obvious. But those 390s, man, were killing us on Saturday. We could have won if, I don't know, Johnny, you're the stats guy, but how many free 90s and all that we had, but between the walks and the hit by pitch. But to me, that between that and the win not cooperating were the two big ones. And having, you just can't have errors. I mean, but the defense was stellar. Norby was stellar. And yes, they by having Norby in that game, being lights out, I mean, he was a guy he's a guy, like you said, Johnny, that we all know that he's going to the next level. He's one of those guys you wish you could have for 6 or 7 years.
I'd take him.
I know. We know he'll be leaving next month, but boy, oh boy, it's great to have him right now. And it would be great for a guy like Norby. I'll just say this. If somehow, some way we can get through Chapel Hill, it would be great to at least just to get to a super. I feel like the team is a super regional team.
Anything can happen in a super. Anything.
Yeah. But we got to get there. And overall, let's see. Yep. He said best pitcher of that game, JR, not on staff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you guys how do you guys feel now that you win the conference tournament? Are you ready to talk more about Sunday, or you want to move on, Johnny?
Well, I was just going to say that, looking at all these conference championship games, everybody's out of pitching, and you see a lot of double-digit scores and that. And we win it 1-0. The last time we won a game 1-0 was in April of 2014 in Chapel Hill. We won 1-0, and I think that was Reed Love pitched. He was the winning pitcher in that game. I think he went the whole way. But the only RBI in that game came from Charlie Yorgan, who wore number 10. And the only RBI for us yesterday came from Colby Wallace, who also wears number 10. Just a little connection there. But yeah, 1-0 games are hard to come by. Unfortunately, we were on the losing side against Penn, and I think Coastal too last season. But so it's been a long time since we've won a 1-0 game.
No doubt, and we're gonna with this win. I just feel like with this team, you always want us to be. You want the team to be gelling. You want the team to be doing better at the end of the year. And with this team, look at it now, guys. We're gonna have a legitimate shot winning yesterday. We played well. Let's see. We had the Rice game we won, right? So we had the 3. That was 4, 5. We lost 6, 7. So what is it? We're about 7 out of 8 right now. The last
we're 7-1.
Yeah, in the last 8 games, and so I don't have to be Johnny's stats. I can't count up enough because Johnny is awesome with stats and does a great job. And I'm glad we have you, Johnny, by the way, because stats are not. I make no bones about it, are not my thing, and that's okay. Everybody brings a different talent to the show, and we're grateful and appreciative to have you.
I did want to talk about another stat since we're still talking about the Pirates. That is the fact that I saw Cliff put out a tweet, or ECU Baseball put out I shouldn't say tweet, on X, that we're one of 6 teams that have won 8 in a row. Not won 8 in a row, but had gone to a regional 8 or more years in a row. And I just wanted to correct them. It's actually 7. They didn't put Oklahoma State. Do you have the graphic, Dave?
Yeah. I was just saving that to you. You guys wanted it.
Okay. That's impressive right there. Except for there should be another logo on there, and it should be the Cowboy from Stillwater, Oklahoma, because they've gone 13 seasons in a row, and they're in this season. So I'm not sure why they were left out. But yeah, it's 7. But out of those 7, we're one of 1 that have made a regional appearance in at least 8 consecutive seasons and won either a conference or tournament title in each of those seasons. And we've won 10 of them in those 8 years. We've won 4 tournaments and 6 regular season titles. This season, I'm giving us 1 of each because we were co-champions in the regular season. So that's even more impressive. You know, I don't know. These teams are coming from, look at who we're looking at here. The ACC, the SEC, the SEC, the Pac-12 when it was, but you know, Oregon State now is an independent, and we forgot Oklahoma State, who's in the Big 12. Those are all multi-bid leagues. Now Southern Miss that's impressive because they're like us. You know, sometimes you know that conference it's hard to get recognition because sometimes the teams in that conference aren't any good. That's changed in the last few years. Everybody's good now in that conference, but in Sun Belt. But you know, the fact that East Carolina is doing this from a 1-bid conference essentially is just, you know, off the charts, in my opinion.
Yes, it is, and we're proud of our team, and for sure. And by the way, let me get our graphic back up here. Let's see. Yeah, so that being said, Pirate fans, and I know that Cliff used that in his Pirate fans talked about that very thing of us being spoiled, and you know that's true. And we need to be. I know Wildfire talked about it. Let's be appreciative and grateful for. There's plenty of teams that we could talk about, including the big boys, if you want to say like LSU and Vandy, that are not in the tournament. They didn't have a good year. Thank you to the committee for being. I think they were fair overall.
Yeah.
You know, they could. There's always going to be. You guys know this as well as I do. There's always going to be in the big dance with March Madness with the men's and women's. You can argue teams that should be in or not, but the bottom line is, we said on this program, we've talked about it on air, off air, in our group text. If we took care of business, you win the tournament, and you don't have to worry about whether you're going to be in today. And so that's what I would say to any team: is strength of schedule is big. And we were concerned. All of us were concerned in Pirate Nation about how we were losing series, and there was things going on, and you know, with the injuries and all this stuff that happened. But at the end of the day, we got hot when we needed to get hot. And it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that old saying, and we finished strong.
Yeah.
Then we went into the tournament. We played extremely well. Again, can't say enough how much I love that. That format is going to help us win more championships. We've won 5 out of how many, Johnny?
11.
5 out of 11. Okay, yeah, 5 out of 11 tournaments that we've been in the American, we've won. And we're going to win a lot more because our program will continue to be good. And you know what? If it's Cliff God retiring, if it's him going to another school, the next guy that comes in here, he's going to do well as well, because our baseball program, they're not just going to put any old guy in as manager, as the skipper, if you will. And so this program is well built, and it will continue to be well built for many years to come.
Yeah, we're 33-13 all time in the conference tournament. 33-13.
Wow.
We had one bad year, and in 16 we went 0-2, and in 19 we went 1-2. But you know, 33-13. That's incredible.
Yeah.
You talk about being spoiled. Teams like Nebraska, this is the first year they made the tournament since 2008. Just think about that. a Big Ten school, first time since 2008 that they're getting into the tournament. So we have absolutely nothing to complain about. We are spoiled, blessed, and we should be proud and humble and just, that's an incredible statistic to think about that. And we're expected to make the tournament every year. And we talked about it mid-season when things weren't going well. What's going on? Yada 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 yada.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah. And what did he say there, Dave? I can't see that.
As Brian Bailey said stats are a statistic you can look at.
Yeah, Pirate Radio uses that soundbite occasionally. It's pretty funny. Clemson and LSU not in the tournament. The last time that happened was 42 years ago, 1984.
And how about the fact that there's no Vanderbilt? I mean, I think is it 19?
19 for them, 13 for LSU, and 11 for Dallas Baptist. See ya.
Yeah, but that just goes to tell you, that's why I love baseball, and I absolutely hate, and let me just say this, how much I loathe the term mid-major, because I believe that pound for pound, even in our, a tough year like we had this year, we're still winning a regular season. We're still winning the tournament. We're still making a regional. You have to go back to 2017, last time we were left home. And so looking at that, I mean, I don't like that term. I think to me, it's condescending. And here's why. Because baseball, we're playing the North Carolinas. We're playing the NC States. We're playing the Dukes. We're playing all the teams we can possibly play. In football, they're so elitist where nobody will play us. But in baseball and sometimes basketball and other Olympic sports, they will play us. So to me, I just find it, I like baseball. It's very refreshing because we do have a chance to win a national championship in baseball. And basketball, it's on paper only. I don't know if we ever will. And then football is where we're actually now where we're able to go to the playoff and have a chance, at least a chance. But baseball is my favorite as far as we really have a chance to win a national championship and to play with the big boys. And that's what we need in football. Not going on a rant, but in football, we need to have where, it's really a level playing field, and where the NC States of the world, there's no reason why Carolina, NC State, and other schools will not play us, because
their conference. They went to 9 conference games, so they're being told. I guarantee you, it's not the individual schools. It's really tough. It's going to be tough with 9-game conference schedules. They're going to play an FCS school. So that's 10 games right there.
But
I don't know.
We're going to have to, and I'll say this, by the way, guys, not to get off subject because we're talking about that, but we need to have it where our leaders, and we're having it, by the way, our members of the state legislature. This is one thing where our state legislators, it doesn't matter if they're Democrats or Republicans, they're getting together on, thank goodness, maybe there's hope. I can't stand the fighting. That's a whole, Alan, Vick and I talk about that. That's a whole nother show. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes to this, you're going to see where, unfortunately, it shouldn't take the state legislator to say, okay, if you're a state school, you're going to have to play Charlotte. You're going to have to play Appalachian State, and you're going to have to play East Carolina. There's 5 schools out of 7. There's 7 Division I schools in football, and those 5 should play. 5 out of 7 should play each other. I understand the Duke and the Wake thing, but even they should play East Carolina. No excuses. And what it tells you is they're scared because they want to have a guaranteed win. I get it, but the hypocritical part of that is you say on the one hand that you're better than us, but you won't schedule us. So if we were such a cupcake, put us on the schedule. If not, then, we need to be, it's so ridiculous. But anyway, I did want to put this up, Johnny, before I forget. The Chapel Hill Regional, and we're playing, obviously, Tennessee. For those who know, that'll be noon on ESPNU. For those that have our traditional podcasts, I'll read this out really fast. And then, of course, VCU is playing North Carolina at 5 o'clock. That's going to be on ESPN Plus. And if you want to know if we lose game 1 to Tennessee, we would play Saturday at noon. If we win, we play at 5 o'clock. And then Sunday, that's way far. Right now, we're just focused on Friday. But for those that are watching, that you see that on the screen. But I'm happy about a lot of times we would say, man, we got a tough draw. I think this is one where I'm not knocking Tennessee, North Carolina, or VCU. But I think that it's probably, you could argue, it's the most competitive regional of all the 16 host sites. What do you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely with that field. I mean, I think it's one of the better 4 seeds. I think it's one of the better 3 seeds. It's one of the better 2 seeds. Tennessee won the national championship 2 seasons ago, and they had a pitcher by the name of Luke Payne on their staff. And he wants another ring, by the way, but now he's wearing purple and gold. So I hope he gets his wish there. Tennessee, they lost their coach that coached them to the national championship. He's now with the San Francisco Giants. And so Josh Elander's the new coach who's been on the staff for quite a while. And they've lost 20 games, but they're in the SEC, so you can't read too much about that. But I mean, Kent State, who didn't make the tournament, they almost did, but they did not make the tournament. They beat UT in Knoxville 2 out of 3. So I mean, they can be beat. Wright State beat them. Wright State shut them out in Knoxville 6-0. Wright State's not in the tournament, so. I mean, they're a tough out. No disguising that. But I feel like we got to we have a shot, and we have a good shot.
Yeah, and going back to what we talked about, the free 90s with the hit by pitch, the walks, the errors.
Yeah, let me tell you, they have some left-handers on that team. So that's our issue. Is we're almost always hitting left-handers, especially with left-handed pitching, which we predominantly have left-handed pitching. But yeah, Tennessee has Blaine Brown, who played at Rice last season. I don't know if you remember him or not, but he has 13 home runs. He's a lefty. They got Blake Grimmer is also a lefty. He's got 12 home runs. Reese Chapman has 10 home runs. He's a lefty. He's batting .316. Jay Abernathy, he's also starting. He's a left-hander. Not a power guy, though, but he does have 3 home runs. So, yeah, we're going to be facing, plenty of left-handed batting this weekend at least with Tennessee we are. So that makes me feel good. We have a lot of left-handed pitching that knows how to get the job done. So that's half the battle.
Yep. Talk about VCU. They're hot. They come into the tournament playing well. So, I mean, this is going to be a very competitive regional.
Yeah.
I'm not making.
I think they've won 9 out of 10, Alan, or maybe 10 out of 11.
I'm not making any predictions, but I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for the Heels. Let's put it that way.
No, and here again, guys, I will tell you this: we all know that, and we've experienced this. We all know that this time of year, injuries. They're guys that are banged up, and we don't even know it from all the teams. I'm not just saying East Carolina. There's all kinds of factors in there. And I believe, and I said this wholeheartedly, I believe that there is going to be a huge amount of Pirate fans there this weekend. I did wanted to ask you guys, by the way, I'm happy we're in Chapel Hill. So let me make that very clear that we're close by. But if you had I was talking to someone of the media, and I won't say who it was, talking to someone, is there a place that you would like to go to? Athens? We obviously know the Georgia Tech Regional would have been, that they are one of the hottest teams, one of the best.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
Yeah, but is there like a Hattiesburg? That was my sentimental favorite.
Hey, didn't I, in our group text, did I not put out there that?
Oh yeah.
Everyone had you say Atlanta, and I said I wouldn't count Chapel Hill out. because there's no, we shouldn't get, if we win that tournament, Georgia Tech, the number 2 team in the nation, shouldn't have to have a 3 seed in their bracket that's as good as we are. So I didn't think it was going to happen. And then when I saw Virginia Tech was in, Los Angeles as the 2 seed, I was like, okay, I thought maybe they could be the 3 seed in West Virginia. And then, because I wanted to go to Morgantown, to be honest with you, if I had my choice, just because I love that atmosphere, and that would be a very winnable bracket as well. So I thought, okay, Virginia Tech was the obvious fit for Morgantown, but since they're in LA, maybe we'll be but that didn't work out. But I'm happy where we are. It's close travel. The team doesn't have to worry about, excessive travel or anything. And yeah, I'm happy with the Chapel Hill Regional. But you asked the question, where would I like to go? And I would have liked to go to Morgantown. But Athens is great. I love Athens, Georgia, but that's like a little bandbox. We don't really have a lot of home run hitters. They have a lot. Tennessee's hit 111 home runs, by the way. So they're going to be challenged.
Yep. And looking at the weather, Friday looks great in Chapel Hill. I think we'll be fine for Friday. Beyond that, it doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look great either. There's a 50-50 chance of showers and thunderstorms every day from Saturday on. So as we know, weather, for whatever reason, weather in East Carolina, we've had so many instances over the years in regionals where weather has played a part. So keep our fingers and toes crossed this year that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we talked about it, by the way, earlier. The one negative, and I will say the one negative for Chapel Hill, is the parking issue. And I will tell you this is exactly what they used to do. If you guys remember, and so people know, we're talking baseball for all the haters out there. We're talking baseball, but they used to, when they had the Dean Dome and they had all the, they still do, but they had all the concerts there. What they used to do is University Mall. They would get you to park at University Mall and bus you to the Dean Dome, right? So I wish they would do the same thing for the Bosch, because I'm not knocking UNC, but there's just not a lot of parking. And so, in fact, the ticket office put that out, that, about the 200 tickets reserved for student athletes, coaches, and staff. But I will say this, let me be fair too, we at East Carolina have a very nice ballpark in Clark Leclerc. And how many times have season ticket holders could not get tickets because we were told the NCAA, and I believe the people that told me inside the ticket office, that we had to hold a whole bunch aside. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on things, but let's just go there and win the regional and get out and move on to the supers. I'm very confident in this team. I think if you know that, for those of you that know me, I hate ties. I hated that tie back in February. I felt like we could have not swept them, but won 2 out of 3. But anyway, it is what it is.
It didn't matter. It ended up not mattering, and we didn't get any players hurt, and nobody wanted to play anymore in that game, either side. So I agree
we are paired up with the Auburn Regional. Is that correct?
No, Texas A&M.
Texas, that's right, correct. We're Texas A&M Regional. So that's just something to look at. Just, you don't want to look ahead, obviously, but you have to look ahead.
I will look ahead at this. I'll look ahead at a possible game 2 matchup if we beat Tennessee, if UNC takes care of VCU. I don't expect North Carolina to throw their number 1 guy, Jason DeCaro. He brought some pain to the jungle. He shut us out. They ruled us 10-0. He threw like 12 pitches an inning that game and walked 1 guy and had 5 hits. He allowed 5 hits. And we just couldn't figure him out. And I have a feeling, he's going to be the Saturday guy. It's either going to be us or Tennessee. So we're going to have to figure him out.
Yeah, the back half of that Carolina staff is not particularly scary.
No, they're not. And that's,
well, yeah, people keep saying that. I mean, Justin's mentioned that. Boaz is struggling for sure. But I don't know. You know what? In the tournament, the normal rotation doesn't apply. Like, they have plenty of really good relievers. I have a feeling there's a chance that Ethan, I mean, I don't think it's out of the question that he doesn't start a game, that he just comes in out of the pen and we see him in 2 or 3 games. Well, if we get that far,
it would not be surprised.
No, I'm not saying I'm predicting that. I'm just saying it wouldn't shock me if that were to happen.
No, Clifton on the fly, feel kind of situational guy. So he's gonna, hey, if that's what it takes, that's what he'll do.
It's 27 outs. So if I have to have Allen for a few outs, Johnny for a few outs, Kyle for a few outs, Wildfire for a few outs, and I'm not pitching because I want to win. But that's exactly. I definitely think East Carolina. I definitely think East Carolina has a good shot at winning on Friday. And you know what? Like I said, we'll take like coach speak one game at a time. But you look at it. Let's say hypothetically you lose. Let's say hypothetically you lose on Friday. You would play most likely VCU on Saturday. We would have a good chance there, and we would have to. Then we'd have to turn around and play. Let's see. Let me get it. I'm getting ahead of my.
Yeah, I think we'd play the loser of North Carolina and Tennessee if it progressed the way you're suggesting.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that my point is the one good thing about a regional. My point is that if we were to, and I'm not saying we will, so I'm just playing around here hypothetically. Pitching, I believe if you're going with their star guy and he pitches against Tennessee, let's say on Saturday, they don't have him anymore, and then they've got Sunday to worry about. So we have to get there. We have to win. I think we can win, obviously, on, let's see. Boaz is the only part of the staff that has holes. The rest are studs. Second best staff next to Oregon State in the country. They have plenty to cover. Boaz, they do. Yeah, I appreciate that one, but I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now. We also have studs. We also have guys that are growing up fast. We have guys that, yes, we're depleted, but it's not like when going into the season. Alan and I were there in January. It's not like that we didn't have a deep staff. Thankfully, the one thing that saved us is we had a deep staff, or if not, we would not be talking about co-champions, tournament champions, and now playing in a regional in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, we had some freshmen, as we talked about earlier, that grew up in a hurry. So, yeah, I mean, we were very lucky to be deep on the mound because the injuries and things like just piled up, exponentially and quickly. And it was just, every team has those years occasionally where the injury bug just seems to bite, more so than average. And this was our year for that.
By the way,
we're still going to Chapel Hill. So,
and by the way, here's another thing I wanted to compliment, and Alan and Johnny, y'all helped me remember this. And you didn't realize it. Cliff, the point I wanted to make, let's give a shout out to Cliff and the staff. And you know why? Year after year, why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? You hear people on the keyboard bandits, and you hear people in the stands, and he's putting those guys in pressure situations in February, March, and April, knowing that we have Clearwater, knowing that we have regionals, knowing we have super regionals, and one day Omaha, to give them the experience. How it's like driving a car and you have very limited experience. You have to get behind the wheel.
On the field, I ain't questioning nothing Cliff Godwin does ever.
But that's why
on the field, never, ever, ever.
Y'all made me think about that when you
not going to do it. Not going to do it.
They're playing for May. They're playing.
Not even Grady Linehan bunting on his first ever college at bat and popping it up.
Just.
Hey, I'm kidding, Alan. I'm kidding.
I know you.
I remember that one though, and that was completely in jest.
We got the greatest fans in the world, but let's put it this way: we look at the message boards, and most of our fans are intelligent. They know baseball. they're reasonable, but you got those fringe element wackos in every sport, at every school, and we got a few, but just that's just part of it now.
Yeah, I think it's okay to question, but not criticize.
Yeah, I agree. You can question without criticizing. And who am I? Who am I to criticize Cliff Godwin about anything concerning baseball?
That's how I feel.
I don't
I feel the same way, Alan.
Doodly squat.
I'll just ask somebody, what do you think he was thinking right there? What do you think led to that decision? Yeah. And those are few and far between. And I hate the fact that he even pays attention to social media as much as he does. I wish he wouldn't, because that's an ugly place most of the time. It's not anything positive coming out of there. And
well, what he knows is this show. There's nobody on this show that's ultra critical of Cliff.
No,
I haven't seen it or heard it.
No, and
absolutely not.
We started the very end of the 2018 season, because we started in March to really cover this team. And there's not been one time where anybody's lost their minds over Cliff Godwin. And in fact, we've been very fair, and we have took up for Cliff Godwin when these crazies do this. Not that he needs us to, but it's frustrating how you appreciate the passion, but when you go over the line, then we're going to call you out, because Cliff and you look at the staff, you look at the support staff. They got back in last night, thanks to Justin. We found out at 7:00 last night. And then, they have the watch party. I saw Alan when we left and said our goodbyes. They're getting their gear off the bus, literally when we drove off after. They're always, my point is, they're always doing something. So
we talk about staff. Look at somebody like Jeff Palumbo. Yeah, Jeff Palumbo has had opportunities to be a head coach.
Yes.
Somewhere.
I could remember
several.
He's a Hall of Famer at George Mason.
We don't mention Jeff enough, but he's the glue guy in the coach.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I was saying he's a Hall of Famer at George Mason, and that job did come open when longtime Coach Brown retired from George Mason. He'd been there forever, and I felt like if he's not going now, he doesn't want to go for anything, because I just feel like that would have been maybe his dream job. I don't know. It's George Mason though, so I don't know.
It comes down to him. He's a very, and I mean this, I don't mean when you hear a simple man like from Leonard Skinner, but he is a simple guy. What I mean by that is he's not one of these guys that has to have a huge, same way with Cliff Godwin. They don't have to have this huge entourage and all this fanfare and all this stuff. And his family is extremely, he's talked about this, so it's not like I'm making anything up or, speculating. They are very, 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 with capital letters, happy in Greenville. He's talked about that, and the thing I like about Palumbo, he's a straight shooter, just like Godwin. He's not giving you coach speak or nice to Alan, myself, Johnny, anybody in the media. He's a really good guy. And I'll tell you one thing, when Cliff Godwin retires or leaves the school, Palumbo needs to get a strong look. And I'm not speculating anything. I'm just simply saying I like the guy that much. He's our recruiting coordinator. A lot of the guys that we've received over the years that we've gotten to come play ball is because of Palumbo. And I tell you another thing that Coach Godwin's done a nice job of recently is having the Franciscos of the world, having the Packards of the world, having the Agnos of the world, and having them on staff right now. Packard is the one that worked with those guys in the outfield to make them better. And you can tell that they are doing a great job. And how about, speaking of the tournament, how about yesterday that Whitaker making that wrong read, but he had the notion that he jumped on it too much and then went back and caught that ball. I mean, that's Packard and different guys helping them. It's the behind the scenes guys that are doing that. And Palumbo is number one on that he is, I think that I will say this, Cliff Godwin and Palumbo get along extremely well from what I hear and just seeing them interact. And you know that old adage, you know, the grass can be greener on the other side. Yes, I could go back to my alma mater, and I'm not knocking George Mason at all, but he and Cliff Godwin came here to go to Omaha. He's talked about that indirectly about, in other words, they've started something here, they're building something here, and look at all the accomplishments they have. No disrespect to George Mason or any school that goes after Palumbo. I would totally understand why they would, because of his character. Talking about the team, he watches the show, so also and anybody that we have thousands of episodes now, guys, like 1,100. We've never said anything bad about the Pirate staff, and we will continue to praise them because of their GPA, that those kids are getting like a 3.5 GPA.
Nuts.
I mean, it's just crazy. Kim McNeil's all across the board. When you look at, I will say this for John Gilbert and company, when it comes to academics, this program, Blake Harrell, all the coaches, Mike Schwartz, the men's team, they're getting like ridiculously high GPAs. I'm not complaining, or, you know, I know that's what they're supposed to do, but the world we live in college athletics right now, the word student does not apply to student athlete anymore. And so for them to do that is great, and looking forward to them continue to do great things. So you guys, do you guys want to move on for baseball really quick, or you got some more stuff?
Sure.
I've done all I can do baseball wise. I'm just ready for 12 noon ESPNU on Friday. We get some linear television on Friday again. That's good. That's good.
That's very cool. And I just want to mention really quick about Beast Games before we get out of here, because Johnny, I know Wildfire also wanted to know. I'm a little bit tired, but overall it was a great experience. I will say that we got there about 5:30. We had to park in Lower Menges. The traffic was not bad at that particular point. We had to wait 3.5 hours to get into the stadium. I do have a problem with that. I think they did that on purpose, like to build up the excitement. And for me, they had promised that all the gates were going to be open. I know there's security. I know that all the stuff they did, that was beforehand, that was a negative. I thought they could, what I would have done differently is I would have given away 50,000 seats, every single thing we had. And I would have sold concessions, which he did not. I would have sold merchandise, which he did not. But I think that it would have been a better experience if those people that are coming in at 5:30 in the afternoon to go ahead and be able to sit down inside the stadium. And the other thing is, as far as crowd control, if you say, okay, let's say that I think it was they had you entering, by the way, in the north side, you know, the upper deck side, if you will, of the stadium, no problems whatsoever there. But if you let people go ahead and get in there early, let them go ahead and be in there at instead of 8 o'clock. Say, I thought it was 6 o'clock. That's why I got there at 5:30. I made a mistake on what time the gates opened, but having those people go ahead and sit down, having concessions, food earlier, make them. I don't care if I had to pay for it; it would have been fine with me. I know that was good for people that maybe couldn't afford all the high dollar, you know, souvenirs and for concessions. But the actual show was fantastic. There was over 16,000 people there. I can say that. I don't want to spoil they had a famous athlete. You guys will like, wow, to be in Greenville, North Carolina. There was 24 champions from all over the world. And I can definitely spell Nepal, Nepal, but and I know the capital's Kathmandu, but to have somebody from Nepal there, crazy. Palestine, Turkey. There was a guy named Turbo there. But anyway, 24 champions. They had three different games they did for the Beast Games. And basically it took 4 hours to do a 1 hour show. But it was really cool. They had, and I'll tell you guys off air, but I will say this. My last thought on the Beast Games, because I was really excited about the whole experience, was I felt like Johnny and Alan, it would be cool, but this obviously Mr. Beast thing, to have some kind of event after. I've been saying we're going to be in the championship game. We're hosting December, I think it's 5th or whatever that Saturday is. It would be cool after the championship game to have some kind of Beast Games or something where the fans could participate in. or halftime show where they could give away money or something, because I have a feeling that we are going to be hosting that championship game in football. I know this is a baseball show, and I was saying, how cool would it be to have something with Mr. Beast there, and that would help get us to 50,000 seats. And we're going to be on ABC, and ABC is going to be there doing the game. So that's a known fact. No matter whoever hosts the American this year, it's not going to be on Friday night, guys. It's going to be on Saturday instead of Friday. I think that's a huge advantage for us. But you heard it here first. I'm going, not the other guys, but I'll go on a limb. We're going to be hosting the tournament. The championship game in December, and it would be cool to have Mr. Beast there. That's my final thoughts, and I'll get you guys.
Awesome. Hey, well, I wanted to ask you a question about Beast games.
Okay.
Tell me about security. Like, no concessions available. What are you allowed to bring in? Anything or nothing?
You had to clear a bag. You obviously had to. It's basically you could, for the most part, because I know where you're going with it. I think I know where you're going with this. They followed EC rules for the most part, but I know there's one thing that you told us on social media. So, but clear bags. If you brought a cell phone in, they gave you a little pouch and they locked it, so you had to hold that pouch the entire night or put it in your pocket. You couldn't film anything. That's why I was telling you guys, but I understood why, because you don't want anybody bootlegging and having that episode out, or any episode period, whatever they tape it. I just thought it was really cool. They did that also where my kids didn't miss a day of school or go to school half a day.
No water? I mean, are you allowed to bring anything in? Food or beverage at all?
No, but they gave you, there was a ton, even though they had like this card, right? And they had a number on the card. On the back of on that card, they had where you could they could do a punch out of, like, popcorn, hot dog, drink, Feastable, which is for those that don't know, it's a candy bar. They did a great job with concessions. They had, like, instead of having the normal, like, everything in one, they had a popcorn station. They had a hot dog.
I thought you said there were no concessions. I thought that was like
no. I meant no. What I meant is to sell concessions is what I meant.
Okay. Because
I would rather have. I'm sorry about that. What I was saying, my point is that have the typical day like experience of football, and let people in at 6 o'clock. Let them eat, make money for the school. I know this was a Beast thing, so I get it, but having to wait 3.5 hours outside, when you were young, and we used to have to get, Alan used to camp out for concert tickets, I'm sure. I don't know if JR did. We're talking music here a second, but when we did that, that's one thing. But now, come on, it's 2026. Let the people in the stadium. That was my one, because if you think about it, it helps crowd control also, because you can screen them much faster if you let them in 2 or 3 hours ahead of time, and all those people, instead of like it was a mad rush. That was my only thing. And then the other thing was, I failed to mention, was leaving the stadium in Lower Menzies looked like, I wish I was too tired to think about it, guys. But they literally, it looked like bumper cars, because people were trying to leave and they were all in different directions. It was a real cluster. But what I've learned is, going to concerts since 1991 by myself, or as an adult, is don't sweat it. After 10 or 15 minutes, all those cars were pretty much gone, and then I was able to ride off in the sunset. And the other thing was, they did a terrible job was at Greenville and Charles Boulevard. They normally would have the lights flashing, where the McAllister's is, and that big sign. But for some reason, it was a delay, because they had the officers were directing traffic, but they also had the stoplights going. It made no sense. And so I don't knock the officers. I think that they just didn't have enough. They should have had more officers helping them. I'm not critical of the men and women that were out there, because they were doing their best, but that was not good. So
I think we missed the biggest takeaway from the Beast games. The elephant in the room that we need to address is this: Dave Richmond, our buddy of many years, who I love like a brother, went 3.5 hours without using his cell phone. That's the big takeaway from the Beast games for me, because anybody who knows Dave knows he is married to that damn cell phone. And I know you went through withdrawals. I know you got the shakes after about 30 minutes. Then you
No, I actually can say that they did a good. I know you're joking, but they actually did a good job of entertaining people and giving the money away. And there was a lot of fun with. I can't say the prizes were like wow for the contestants. I don't want to spoil that. I'll tell you guys off air. But it was really cool. And I will say this. Thank you to Mr. Beast for bringing this to Greenville. I thought it was great for ECU. I thought it was great for us to. That's the kind of stuff that I like to see. Thank you to John Gilbert administration for allowing to happen. We're making $285,000 off his renting the facility. So all that was great. And I hope that we do more with Mr. Beast. And I hope we have like big events, like concerts there, like they're talking about, and let not the Dave Richmonds of the world, but the big time promoters like Live Nation, somebody like that. I know they're talking to somebody big like that to do a major concert. Let them handle that. The problem we've been burned is they have like the small time, and I'll speak for myself, promoters that are really stretching to make this happen. And then like that Blake Shelton situation several years ago where they didn't have the money to play. What happened is they didn't really have the money to pay Blake, and it was bad for Blake and it was bad for ECU. And so that situation, so he had to bow out because they didn't have the money. And then right before Gilbert got here, that was what left that's what left a bad taste in the mouths of, people in ECU, because we got burned multiple times, but especially on that one. And
have they broken everything down yet?
No.
Hey, Josh, that's exactly what I was going to ask him. That's exactly what I was going to ask you.
Irrigation in Dowdy, and the field, from what I could see, still looked great. But of course, I don't know what's over that. But looking forward to seeing season 3, and I'm going to be watching season 2 now on Amazon to get that. But we'll see how that all plays out. And I will say this: they don't have, when they film these things, they don't have everything in order. So what they were filming last night was not like episode 1. So we'll figure out. But the crowd was, I'll tell you one thing, if we could get that kind of crowd in Dowdy-Ficklen, as far as new people, not the people that are watching or listening, it hit me last night that it would be, I was sitting beside a guy that I met, and he lives in Greenville, had never been to Dowdy-Ficklen, because he was a Mr. Beast fan, had been on an episode or video with Mr. Beast. But those are the people we need to find out. How do we, and I'm not the expert on that, how do we get the casual fan? We have a fan base that's really strong, but we need those casual fans back that we haven't had since Roughing McNeil. So I guess the answer to that question is keep winning, and that'll take care of itself. But
hey, Dave, go ahead, Alan. Go ahead, Alan.
I was going to say the takeaway too is you had a great time with your kids. It was some great quality time with Mackenzie and Alex. So that was the memories were made last night. So
yes,
good.
And they are very happy with me, because they thought whenever they discovered that we were doing the show, we had a YouTube channel. The reason they thought I was cool is because they love Mr. Beast. And I will tell you this, when I saw that they were doing this event, I immediately jumped on the tickets, because I'm like, the fact that he's doing something, they would have sold out, but the fact it's free, and they didn't have 50,000, available. But it was basically all the north side, and basically your north side, if you will, and the upper deck side, and then some of the boneyard. And then they had sprinkle of people in the south side.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had a good time, man.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, Dave, you got there at 5:30. You got there earlier than you intended to. Did you get a T-shirt or anything? Were there any giveaways?
They did have the first 1,000. There were people there way, way early that parked directly behind the stadium. That's how early they were there. And those first 1,000, we did get because they gave away 16,000, we did get a really cool towel that said Beast Games on it. I didn't think to bring it where I could show it on the show tonight, but they did give us that, and they gave us those wrist things that where they light up, and the whole stadium lit up. And I was like, I don't think we need to do that for ECU where when we have a really big game. I'm not saying it has to be every big game. And by the way, guys, another cool thing, they did the light show they had and everything. I know that I don't know the cost of it. I'm not trying to criticize John Gilbert and company. I bet the cost of that light show was unbelievable. But I'll tell you what they did. They had pyrotechnics that were awesome. And they also had a fireworks show. It wasn't like a July 4th, kind of like that kind of expensive show. But before and after they had fireworks, I was like, man, I wish we could do that because we are heading in that direction. But man, those kind of little things like that and interactive stuff that they were doing, I wish that Mr. Beast could work with us on our game day experience, because it's not that our game, and let me say this, it's not that our game day experience is lacking. We have a great game day experience, but we can always do better. So
you know what, Dave? When I'm the opposite, though, I see those fireworks exploding, and I'm like, dang, that could have been, rev share for a tight end or something. It's like I'd rather spend that money on getting a better team together than. And you could do both, though. You could do both, but I just don't feel like we need to spend excessively on entertaining. We have football. That's our entertainment. We didn't come there to see. But a lot of people are like you. They want to see it.
I just enjoy it. I think that it's as you guys know, I spend a lot of money with the Pirates between different things, and that's my entertainment dollars. I was trying to go to a movie with Mackenzie this afternoon to have some daddy-daughter time, and they only had one dang ticket left. I was so upset because I love to do stuff with her. She's a lot of fun, and Alex is too, but she's definitely more into movies than he is, and I was trying to make that happen, and anyway, it didn't happen. But my point is I spent a lot of money, and most of my money is going to ECU, and so that's why I like that new premium tailgate and having those concerts ahead of time. That costs money, but I think it's cool. I think it gets people closer to the stadium like you want them to earlier than they normally would. And I think that there's also different, like Kyle doesn't like tailgating as much as I do. Johnny, you love tailgating. Alan and I spend time in the press box. There's different things going on. There's different experiences, I guess, and traditions people like to do. And there's not a wrong answer on that. But I hope, by the way, one more thing, guys, we haven't talked a lot about, and I'm looking at our time and we've gone a little bit over, but that's fine. Is I just want to get y'all's take on the and Johnny hates when I do this, but if you don't, I'll be glad to tell you guys this. Have you heard about, this is the way I'll frame it, have you guys heard about NC State and North Carolina trying to take most of our gambling money?
I have.
Have you heard, Johnny?
They want a bigger piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Check this out. They want $25 million each. And I'm sorry, you're not better than us. Let's get this straight.
I agree, Dave.
I'm sorry. I just realized that I was going to mention this on a previous show, and it just dawned on me, guys.
Yeah, we should spend more time on it. I mean,
I just want to
because that really gets me.
I want to tease it tonight a little bit to get y'all to think about it, and then we can talk about it on our future show and maybe a summer show. But for me personally, I think that's hogwash that we're taxpayers and you're going to get. So in other words, right now, the way it should be with 5 in-state schools, okay? Duke and Wake Forest don't count because they're private. But the 5 in-state schools, basically, guys, that would give us an extra $12 million. And I'm not the numbers guy, that's Johnny. But I am smart enough to know that adding, you made me think about that when you said the tight end. So thank you, Johnny, when you said this to the pyrotechnics. If I have $12 million extra, just think about that, guys. An extra $12 million for our athletic program, what that would do for East Carolina, for Appalachia State, for Charlotte. And I'm sorry, but it should be even. It should be 5 pieces. Those 2 schools get most of the money, and that's why we're in the trouble we're in as far as our state tuition. Yeah. That's a whole nother show. But what were you going to say, Johnny?
I was going to say I'm going to go somewhere now that you probably don't want me to go, but
you can
Alan,
go.
I want Alan's opinion on this. Okay, so Scott Riggs won the truck race, and he had
Lane
that pretty.
Riggs.
Lane Riggs won the truck race. I know Scott Riggs is on my softball team. I knew that was wrong immediately. And that the Charlotte green with the metallic gold numbers, and they shortened that race, which was a shame, but it did get the university some attention nationally. And then I remember when Kyle Busch ran the App State car in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, and he won with that scheme. So what do you think? Do you think that investment pays out?
I would think so. Didn't Brad Keselowski do an ECU scheme of some kind a few years ago?
His wife is her
father-in-law lives in Plymouth.
Yeah,
I mean her father lives in Plymouth and has a business in Plymouth.
Right.
Lewis White, he's a logger.
That's right.
Wow.
His Paige Keselowski's dad is Lewis White, who is Brad's father-in-law.
That's correct. And so they, by the way, I don't think but the whole Kyle Busch thing is so sad. Rest in peace to him. And I saw a thing, and not being political, but I was really upset today, and I won't say who did, but I actually, they're a friend of mine. And it doesn't matter how they vote, but to challenge the governor I thought it was great that he lowered the flag to half staff with Kyle Busch. Because he's a major person in our state, more than people realize.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And the fact that the governor, I thought it was great. I'll say this, because all three of us are NASCAR fans. I thought it was great the governor did that. I know it's Memorial Day, but the guy, literally, that was so tragic. Who in the world would have thought that Kyle Busch, one of the greatest drivers in the history of the sport, would it's scary to think that he's 41. And my sister, by the way, is an expert on sepsis. And I will just say this, the one thing, and I'm not critical when I say this, so don't misunderstand me. People take your words and they twist it. It just made me think, me personally, I'll talk about me, that I'm going to be even more aware of my health and not just say, oh, I can, tough this thing out, because the pneumonia thing that went into sepsis, it can happen to anyone, including Kyle Busch. And I'm very sad for his family.
Yeah.
And
I agree, Dave. And I'll tell you this, he was such a competitor. I think it worked maybe to his detriment. I'm just speculating. I don't know anything, but I think that Kyle just was such a racer to the core that he may have put his health on the back burner. Right. And I don't have time for that. No. I got to race, man. I got to race. And I think he would have raced in that race yesterday, even if he was really, really sick. I feel like nothing was keeping him out of that, and I'm gonna miss that guy. I don't
know if you guys saw the pre-race with Samantha Bush and Brexton and Richard Childress. Man, that was heart-wrenching.
Yeah, but it was also comforting to see how much support they had, and Brexton seemed to be the one that was taking over the comforting role for Samantha.
Yeah, I just can't imagine. But Brexton is going to be a star if he wants to continue to race. I mean, the kid's got massive amounts of ability.
I can tell you this: Richard Childress has taken the 8, put it on the shelf until Brexton wants to and can run in the series. He'll be racing for Richard Childress in the number 8 car.
And it's so weird because, Kyle was young, he was brash, got booed. Keselowski famously called him an ass in driver introductions years ago. But it was like Darrell Waltrip years ago when he was hated. As his career progressed, it kind of turned the other way and he became popular. Same thing happened with Kyle Busch. He became, like in wrestling, he became a babyface in the last 4 or 5 years of his career. And that was good to see. What a talent! I just feel so awful for the family, for Richard Childress, for NASCAR. in general. I mean, I don't think that I've fully processed it yet. That Kyle Busch is no longer with us. It just
did you see Daniel Suarez in Victory Lane? He couldn't contain himself. He was extremely emotional and broke down a little bit, which is understandable because he said that coming here from Mexico, he could barely speak English, and he said for some reason Kyle Busch took me under his wing and gave me a shot.
Yep.
And I
what a
wouldn't
great
be here
win for Suarez last night. Man,
it really
was.
Was.
Cool with the weekend.
All those Toyotas lined up behind him, and I was texting with John White, and I said, I'm going to tell you right now that 2-tire decision is going to bite Suarez in the butt unless he's so smart that they know it's going to rain, and he only has to hold off these Toyotas for a couple of laps. And that's exactly what happened. And those Toyotas, they're teammates. They didn't line up. They battled each other, and Suarez loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
And that was a great win. I was really happy to see that.
Our buddy Philip Pilkington was there last night, so I can't wait to talk to Pilk and get his take on everything that happened in Charlotte over the weekend.
Yeah, and I absolutely hate all this came down, because what I was going to say is there's always the one thing I love about NASCAR is when you have people that are like the heels, the villains, and you have the guys that are, I mean, to me, it's boring when you have the guys are like, they're all the same size. They have the same haircut. They talk the same way. I like personalities. I like guys that get out there and talk junk. I don't know, but for me, it's kind of like when you have wrestling and you have guys cutting promos that we talk about. When there's kind of a feud between two guys, that makes it interesting for me to watch. If you're just going to keep driving around, and hi, I'm the nice guy, and I'm from the Midwest, and I'm going to I miss the Southern accents. I miss the smaller tracks. And thankfully some of that's coming back. Remember, don't forget where you came from. My parents, the grandparents used to always say that. NASCAR is realizing we need to get our fans back, and we went away from the hardcore fans when we expanded too much in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to throw this out there. I've always been a Chevrolet guy, and I always have a Southern driver because that's where NASCAR is, and I want a Southern driver to win it. That's how much I like Kyle Busch, that he was my favorite driver, and he was from Las Vegas. So I mean, to do that, you've got to have some special charisma and talents, and he certainly did.
Yep. It's going to be interesting for the rest of the season to see how it kind of plays out. And people can say what they want, but it's a different circumstance, but it's like losing Earnhardt.
Yeah, it is. And
it's
same,
you lose team. You lose one of the pillars of your sport, right in the middle of the season or early with Earnhardt at Daytona. But it's just hard. I don't know what to say. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't think I've really I haven't quite processed it yet that Kyle's gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, it's like in basketball, if you were losing LeBron in his prime, or because Kyle is still at his prime. Like now, the three of us can speculate he would have won a few more championships. He would have done this. He could have done this, and we can't talk about that because now,
because he's still playing.
Right.
Yeah, I think he was certainly on the backside of his career, but he was competitive. He just won a truck race in Dover, 6 days before. When the car was there for Kyle, and with Childress, it was not there most weeks, unfortunately. But when the car was there, Kyle still had the ability to take it to the front.
No doubt.
I mean, Watkins Glen, he didn't. I mean, how was he even managing to pilot that thing around that course all day long as sick as he was?
He thought it was a sinus infection, and it just like Dave said, or you said too. You just wonder if he said, "Man, I've got a cold, I can't shake it, but I'm tough. I got to do it," and not knowing that it was going to turn into something so much more than that.
Yeah. And I'm not criticizing him because I mirror what he, I've done that many times where I've played, where we've been on the air over the years in radio. There was a time when I had one of our fellow friends, Alan's station. in 2001, the salesperson, she said, "You're coming with me. You're going to the dentist right now. I've already got your appointment." And I had a root canal, and an hour and a half later, I came back on the air. And I think about now in my 50s that, hey, the mortality, you start when you're middle aged, you start.
Yeah.
I fell down a flight of stairs in 2014, broke wrist, ribs, other things, and was on the air. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I was that stupid. I was on the air the next day. It was just what we do. I mean, it's just, and there's so many people that play hurt and work sick, and and that's just part of it. But sometimes you got to think about yourself and your health and your well-being down the road.
Yeah, and sometimes you just can't. You have a situation, and not getting political here, but the economy and all the stuff where we're working. I know Alan and I work multiple jobs and different side hustles, and sometimes when I always say that my reason for getting out of bed every morning is I have Alex and Mackenzie. I have 2 mouths to feed, and they are my number one thing. And so, yes, there's sometimes where we have to do that when it gets to that point. But in fairness to him, we've all done that as guys where we said, I've got to take care of my family. And he, the one thing I admired about him, that I had so much respect for him, no matter what people thought about him, the man could back it up. He could race anything the guy could race. And I appreciated that. And like I said, this is, when you think about hearing Kyle Busch is dead at the age of 41, if you had told me that, you could have convinced me that he died on the racetrack versus dying just of natural causes. Because what I'm saying by that is, like when Earnhardt passed away, like you were talking about earlier, you would think that it would have happened on the racetrack and not, on natural causes off the racetrack. And so we're going to pray really hard for his family.
It just teaches you to enjoy every day, take every day as a blessing, because you never know, from 1 minute to the next, what life is going to bring. So you really got to treasure every minute, treasure your family, your friends, your faith, and just, you just never know when something will happen. You're not guaranteed tomorrow.
No, and Kyle pretty much said that in Victory Lane in Dover last, 10 days ago. So that was, I think he might have known he wasn't feeling.
And he also had matured so much from the young kid that would just remember, he and Richard Childress got in a fist fight several years ago, and after a race, and now he's driving for Childress. Kyle had just matured with 2 kids and a wife. He did so much for Samantha with the in vitro fertilization thing that they were doing together. He'd become a man. He had become an adult, a responsible adult who was living a great life with his family. And it's just so sad it was cut short.
Yeah, and there's people on this earth right now that wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for his, philanthropic, what was the name of that? The organization that him and Samantha had.
It's the organization. She was trying to in vitro fertilization.
No, I'm saying, if it wasn't for him and her, there's a lot of people on this earth right now that wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
that's
he crossed,
a pretty big.
He crossed. It didn't matter who the president was. He went to the White House and pushed for this, and it was just cool. Kyle had really, I think he was at a good place in life. I really do. And
we're talking about Kyle Busch, the people that are.
Kyle Busch. Yes. Kyle.
Okay.
We're still.
Well, thank you, fellas, for talking about that. I think we try not to talk too much NASCAR, but there's only one Kyle Busch, and we don't have him anymore. So.
Yeah, huge story. And by the way, I feel like NASCAR is going to put him in the Hall of Fame quicker than it's a 5-year rule, I think.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, they need to go ahead and do that. And I will say this, NASCAR, for all the things we talk about, the rules and blah, 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 and you're not cheating. What is the old saying?
You're cheating, you're not trying.
You're not trying. You're only cheating if you get caught. All the stuff that we've heard jokes about over the years. But when it comes to stuff like this, they get it right. And I just pray that I will say this. I don't want to go in. I'll tell you guys off air. I saw a show recently about, it was a thing about Major League Baseball. We'll cover another time. But please, Major League Baseball, stop getting in your way, and please do the right thing. There's a lot of stuff out there that you guys have missed. I'm a huge baseball fan, as you guys know, college and all the way up to major leagues. But major leagues, I will say, they get in their way too much. And there's obvious things. I will just say this, and I know people disagree with me on this, but speaking of the Hall of Fame, Pete Rose needs to be in the Hall of Fame, and all the people that did steroids, they need to be in the Hall of Fame. I can't hit. I'll tell you this. This is how the logic I go with. You can put all the steroids in my body right now. I won't be able to hit one damn home run. I was never good enough to hit a home run. And all those people, the punishment that they received is they were automatic first Hall of Fame ballots, and they didn't get in.
Yep.
And the time has come now for them. And I didn't want to get off on another tangent, but I will just say, we'll talk about it another time. There was a situation that I forgot about, a travesty that happened about 15 years ago. And we need to talk about that at a later time. But I guess we can talk about that in the summertime. But Major League Baseball, put him in there. It's time. The man's dead. He can't do anything to hurt baseball anymore. It's just really dumb. And the man they missed their mark. And Manfred definitely needs to retire. He is I'm just not a fan of him at all, because there's obvious things for the sport, to grow the sport, to help the sport. And the reason I was saying NASCAR, for all the faults that NASCAR has had over the years, when it comes to stuff with Kyle Busch and all the stuff they've done over the last few days, has been really special. And I have to, when people do the right thing, I'm going to tip my hat. And I'm just hoping that Major League Baseball will see what NASCAR is doing, and NASCAR did for this great driver, and honoring him. And they will do, they do Jackie Robinson great. They do that great. That's one of the only good things that baseball does as far as honoring people, put them in the Hall of Fame. And anyway, I don't want to I know we're over 2 hours, but it just bothers me when there's obvious things like that. It's low-hanging fruit and you don't act on it.
Well, guys, as we wrap it up, happy Memorial Day. Again, we need to stop and honor those that paid the ultimate price and made the ultimate sacrifice, that we can sit here and do this show and talk about sports. Memorial Day is a somber day, but it's a day to remember and to pay tribute and honor heroes. That's what it's about. And I'm glad we're able to do this. Hope everybody has a great rest of their Memorial Day. And thanks for the opportunity and let me hang with you guys and do this show. I really enjoy it.
Absolutely, Johnny. Once again, happy anniversary. Give our best to Lisa.
Yeah, I better go. Spend some time with her.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you still got a couple hours, about an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's right, Alan.
Make the most of it, buddy.
We're night owls, so we'll watch a movie or something.
And we'll have
sounds good.
And we'll have our own deck. We'll talk about that in a couple of days. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Guys, enjoy your Memorial Day, what's left of it. We'll see you soon. And as always, go Pirates.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.